What's up, YouTube? Defend Arizona here, and today I want to show you Cerakote after about 2 years on this AK. Actually, more, almost like 3.5 actually. 2010, so yeah, and 2011 Cerakote. A year, a couple years down the road, lots of shooting, lots of use, and show you kind of some of the effects that, with an AK corrosive ammunition plays on Cerakote, and holster wear on, a Glock frame, for example. We'll start with the AK just because it has the most to show. Painted this AK, I think about December of 2010, and since then it's had 4 full tins of 5.45 fired out of it. So that's quite a bit. I did a base coat of a standard parkerization. It was bead blasted and then parked. It had a good layer of park, and then Cerakote was added over the top of that. Now there's a debate out there stating, hey, you should just Cerakote your gun over the base metal and use it as a solid coating, or you use a base coating like what I did. I believe in using a base coat such as a parkerization because ultimately, paint's paint. It will wear off. Now, Cerakote has a really good wear resistance, but put it this way, you double up on your protection. So when you do wear out of your Cerakote, those areas are covered by parkerization. And that, in my opinion, makes it a lot tougher. Also, parkerization, if you were to magnify it, would look like the Rocky Mountains deep down. It's metal that builds up on the surface, and what that allows it to do is put a layer of actual metal that is a lot tougher on the surface rather than your surface metal of your gun. And it's really tacky and it's sharp. And Cerakote sticks to it really good. It actually sticks to it better, in my opinion, than it does a standard bead blast finish. What you have to do, though, it's really important when Cerakoting over a parkerization, is you have to degrease the ever-living crap out of your weapon after you get done parkerizing, because you're going to soak it in, oil and stuff to allow it to seep in and really set that parkerization. But Cerakote won't stick to oil, so you have to get it off. I suggest using lots of brake cleaner, something of this sort of like denatured alcohol. Use the non-chlorinated brake cleaner as well. It dries better, doesn't leave any surface, powder or anything like that. Sometimes the chlorine will actually build up in corners and leave you like a salt residue. That's not cool. So this gun here is straight up Air Dry Cerakote. It is 2 colors. This was the Coyote Tan, or Desert Sand, my bad. Desert Sand, and then I had an olive drab that I mixed with the Desert Sand, and I made kind of a loamish green. Now this gun looks nothing like it used to. It is a lot more faded now, and of course the Cerakote in areas has been darkening slowly with the type of ammunition being fired out of this weapon, which is 7.6. And I just cleaned this yesterday, and I'll tell you right now, I didn't clean it right off the bat, and I shot a lot of ammunition through it because it's an AK, and anybody who wants to sit here and say, clean your gun, well, I don't care. This is my house. I'll do what I want. But I wanted to see the effects of this ammunition on this type of surface. And it's kind of funny, and you'll notice here too, 7.6 has that primer coating lacquer around it, and it blows out of your gas block. It literally travels through your entire gun as it's being fired. It's insane because it's also got a lip around the case neck, and it impermeates itself on the surface of your weapons. It's insane, and it won't go away. It bakes itself in. So that's something interesting. However, it didn't eat away any of the Cerakote whatsoever. I'm trying to get the camera to focus. Come on, camera. Sorry, this camera ain't that great. But the most interesting stuff has been, no doubt, around the muzzle brake. The sight's been beat on, dropped on, And, you know, the Cerakote is taking a massive amount of abuse up here. You got to think all the heat, you know, all the particles that are blowing out of the gun as it's being fired. You know, it is built up and it won't come off. It's seeped in there. You know, Sweet 762 will not take it off. Even the front sight post here, let's see, you know, it's just blasted with carbon, and the carbon is no longer built up on there. I scrubbed it off. However, if you look, it has permanently stained the Cerakote. And to be honest with you, it looks awesome, I think. It looks cool. Because it does break up the Cerakote finish, but it will stain the Cerakote, which is interesting. But this gun has been used and abused a lot. It's been left outside in the rain for purposes of testing it, see how it is, but the action doesn't look bad. You can see right here on the tip charge of the charging handle here, you know, it's been dropped, it's been scratched, and it's just now getting down to, you know, this right edge here is metal, then there's parkerization, and then there's Cerakote. So it's, you know, it's getting down there, it's wearing it pretty thin. You know, around the mag change areas. Actually looks a lot better than I thought it would after the amount of time I've done, you know, rounds that have been fired on this and whatnot. It looks good. It's held up pretty well on the magazines. You know, you can see scratches in them being dropped. You know, it's wearing on the edges, the base plates getting jammed in the dirt so much. You know, they don't look bad at all. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, what I use Cerakote for is a camouflage coating. You know, some people want to use it as their main finish of their weapon. I'm not a big fan of that with Cerakote. I think Cerakote is just a paint. You know, ultimately, in my opinion, that's how I use it. So, some people want to go ahead and have their 1911 100% Cerakoted. You know, go for it. It's not what I would do. But so far, it's held up pretty good. But since, you know, doing Cerakote projects in the past, I have been actually not using Cerakote anymore. Cerakote is a really long and extensive process for some people not. I have the means to do it all the time, but I just rather not do it. I've been using Aerovo rattle can finishes, and yeah, it scrapes off, but it looks cool, and it does exactly what Cerakote does, only it's cheaper. And it comes in an air form in a can. You don't have to worry about it. But the Cerakote is still good. I mean, a couple magazines, they're not camouflage with the green, but the standard paint, they actually look really good. A couple of these magazines haven't been used as much as the others. But otherwise, I mean, it looks good. And the other thing is when it comes to Cerakoting over plastic. Now, Cerakoting plastic is the same procedure I do. I go through and I degrease it with brake cleaner of any shape or form. That way, you know, the plastic will dry out. It'll give you like a whitish black. It's weird. Like you'll take out any of the oils in your polymer and it will look dry. It's funny. But that's good. You want it like that, and then you just Cerakote right over it. You know, and I have here my Glock 17 right in my Lead Farmer Inc. holster, X300. It's actually got the ATAX FG dip on it. It's holding up pretty good. It's got a lot of use on it. So here, let me pull this out. The full sweat guard on it. I'll show you. This is Coyote Tan Cerakote, and just like the muzzle of the AK, this area up towards the front is the darkest. It, you know, carbon stains it. It doesn't eat away at it, but it does stain it. But as far as holster wear and stuff, it does not look bad at all. It does scrape along the top. You know, sharp corners, it will eventually come off on. You know, otherwise it's doing pretty good. The trigger guard area, But otherwise, no, it's been a good color coating. This is just straight over an old, you know, this used to just be a standard Gen 3 black Glock. And I like it. So, I mean, Cerakoting has its purposes. I would definitely rather use Cerakote on polymer for a pistol rather than an entire finish on a gun. I wouldn't Cerakote over these slides. That's just me. I don't think you can get it to stick well enough. Just because, I mean, it is pretty slick. This is the old Teflon. Now they're using the melanite. That might be different. But then again, I'm not a big fan of making the entire pistol 100% tan. It's just not me. But I don't think it would stick very well to this. But it does stick really good to the plastic. And this gun has had an insane amount of rounds through it. I'm approaching 18,000 fired through it. Don't have any savings because it's all on a burn. But I'm really good with this handgun and I really like it. But ultimately that's what Cerakote looks like after lots of use and abuse. So anybody that's trying to get ready to Cerakote a gun, maybe that's something to think about. You know, I don't have any parts on any AR-15s that take as much abuse as, like, say, the front end of this AK. So, I mean, it can stay cleaner and nicer if you baby your guns. If you're one of those guys that likes to save clean everything, shoot it once a year, and rigorously clean the ever-living crap out of it, and, you know, your entire gun collection of 40 guns has maybe 1,000 rounds fired between all 30 of them, you know, Cerakote is going to look pretty for a very long time for you. If you're a guy like me and you put a lot of bullets through your guns, you know, you're going to see the long-term effects of doing so. So I figured, you know, why not show that off and give you all a little bit of information that are trying to make that decision to Cerakote it. Would I Cerakote guns again? Yeah. Am I just too lazy to at the moment? Correct. So, figured I'd just show that off. But, stay tuned. I got more videos coming out, especially on the AK platforms. I got some cool products that I want to show off, and stay tuned to see that stuff. So, alright guys, thanks for your time. Defend Arizona out.